Welcome back to another video and Happy New Year. So today I wanted to make a video telling you some tips that I use to stay on track with eating healthy. So this video is intended for anybody who's interested in starting to eat healthy, or for anybody who has been eating healthy but they might have fallen off the wagon and they need some tips to get back on track. So if you've watched any of my videos in the past, you know that I follow a whole foods plant-based diet. More specifically, I follow a Nutritarian diet by Dr. Joel Fuhrman. So in the Nutritarian diet, the goal is to optimize your nutrient to calorie ratio. So you want to be eating foods that are really high in nutrients but relatively low in calories, and you want to eat a ton of food. You want to eat foods that are low on the calorie density scale, with inclusion of nuts and seeds. If you want to learn more about the Nutritarian diet, you can look at some of my previous videos. But regardless of what diet you follow, these tips will probably be applicable to you. If you follow a whole food plant-based diet, the main goal is to stay away from animal products and refined junk food and oils. So I'm going to share with you 8 tips to help you stay on track. The first tip is the most important. It is to stock and prep your food. I've made a few videos about meal and food prep before, and I can't stress enough the importance of it and how much easier it makes eating healthy. So one thing about adopting a whole food plant-based diet is you're eliminating those quick, processed, packaged foods. So you're gonna have to put in the work to make your own food. That's just the world that we live in. We don't have convenience healthy food yet, but that's okay. It's totally worth it. So what I like to do for meal prep is I like to dedicate a few hours to one day, and it will get me through 3 or 4 days. I'll make a giant salad. I will make a nut-based salad dressing, some sort of cooked bean dish, and some chopped up veggies. I'll also make sure my kitchen is fully stocked with fruit. Some people prefer to meal prep differently, so they'll just do it in smaller chunks of time, but it's just really important that you keep your kitchen full of healthy foods. And for me personally, it's not enough to just keep my fridge and my cupboards full of vegetables and legumes and starches. I actually need to go in there and prepare the food. If it's there in front of me, I know I'm going to eat it. My second tip is to bring food with you when you leave your house. If you know that you're going to be leaving your house for more than a few hours and you probably will get hungry, then bring some food with you. Bring some fruit, bring some homemade trail mix. I'm not trying to say that you should never go eat at restaurants. If that's your plan, then obviously you're going to do that. But it is going to be hard to get something at a restaurant that is oil-free, sugar-free, salt-free. So it should be an occasional thing that you do, not every time you go out. Just have those healthy snacks in your bag just in case. My third tip is to eat enough. And what do I mean by eat enough? Well, if you've seen my video on calorie density, you will kind of have an idea of why vegans or plant-based eaters have to eat so much more than the standard Western eater. For example, vegetables are 100 calories per pound and animal products are 1,000 calories per pound. So we're eliminating that whole food group off of our plate. So what are we left with? Some people look at my portion sizes and they are just like shocked, but honestly, the foods that I'm eating are so calorie dilute that I have to eat a lot. I should rephrase that. I get to eat a lot. Who doesn't want to eat a lot? If you don't want to eat huge volumes of food, you could just incorporate more calorie dense food. But understanding calorie density is really important. So this is something that I've learned over the years. If I don't eat enough throughout the day, then by the end of the day, I'm craving late night snacks and unhealthy food, and it's because I want that calorie dense food. That's what our bodies are designed. We're designed to love the really high calorie, high fat foods in case there was a famine. However, there's not going to be a famine, so we just need to fill our bodies up with healthy foods. If I smash in the healthy calories all day, by dinner time, I don't want any more food until the next day. My fourth tip is to learn about nutrition. So every night before I go to bed, I will read a few pages or chapters from one of my books. I've read all these books lots before. So the Eat to Live diet is one of my favorites, the Start Solution, and Whole. These are all books that are talking about a whole foods, plant-based diet, and I love learning more information. It keeps me accountable, and when you eat this way, you're such a minority and people are going to question what you're doing. So knowing more information will help you when you're talking about this kind of lifestyle. My fifth tip is to make some signs to put around your kitchen. So in the Nutritarian community, there are a lot of people who put the sign, "Salad is the main dish," on their fridge. That's because Dr. Fuhrman recommends at least one meal of the day should be centered around a massive green salad. Another sign that you might want to put on your fridge is G-bombs, a reminder to get these daily foods in. So greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, and seeds. Those are foods that are preventative against chronic diseases and have some really beneficial qualities that you should be eating every single day. The next tip is to sleep, exercise, and love. So I put this all in one category, but all three of these things are super important. So sleep is something that I value so much. I know that if I get a good night's sleep, then I'm going to be making better choices the next day. My mental clarity will be better, so I will eat healthier foods. Exercise is another thing that will encourage healthy eating, in my opinion. When you start your day off with a good workout, then you're starting off on a really good foot and you're more likely to make better food choices throughout the day. And the other part is love. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I've been listening a lot to Dr. Dean Ornish, who is such a knowledgeable plant-based doctor. So Dr. Ornish is one of the only plant-based doctors I've seen that really focuses on these other factors other than just the food. So he thinks that there's a huge link between how much love we have in our life and the food choices that we're making. If we are deprived of love, we are going to try to find some external factor to help us with that. And a lot of people choose food. So if we can fix these other factors in our life and not rely on food, then that could really help with our nutrition. So that's not something I know a ton about, but Dr. Dean Ornish is the man that you would want to look up if you want to know more about that. So the next tip is something that I use to avoid eating processed food. So instead of looking at the food and thinking of the immediate gratification I'm going to get from that food, I will look at it and think about some of the long-term and immediate consequences of eating that food. Is that food going to make me bloated? Is it going to cause digestive issues? Is it going to give me acne? Is it going to promote disease? Is it really worth it? When I look at whole plant foods, I think the exact opposite. I think of all the amazing things that they have done to improve my life and get me to this point. I did want to mention that on occasion that you do eat processed food or maybe you just are treating yourself, this is something that I've had to work on, is having a good mindset towards that food. Because if you're thinking those thoughts that I just talked about while you're consuming those, I really feel like those foods will have a negative effect. But if you are looking at those foods and thinking, I'm going to treat myself and I'm going to enjoy it, then I think that it won't really have negative effects. But Dr. Fuhrman says the only time that you should be treating yourself is when you're outside the home, when it's a special occasion. It shouldn't be a habitual thing. And my final tip is to look into the ethics of your food choices. So one important thing for me was not just looking at my food in terms of a health aspect, but also learning about the environmental and ethical impacts of my food choices. And I know this is a really hard thing to do, but I do think it's so important that we know where our food comes from, and it will help us look at it from a different light. So for me, I have really learned about the ethics of eating animals, and I no longer look at any animal products as food. No matter how hungry I am, I will still never resort to eating animal products. And even though it was really hard to learn about this topic, it has helped me in the long run, because 14 of the 15 leading causes of death are linked to eating animal products. So we want to get those foods off our plates. And once you know what goes into them, you're not going to want to eat them. So I really encourage you to look into the ethical implications of your food choices. This can also be extended into the ethics of human rights and eating organic versus non-organic. And that's something that I really try to do now, but I understand everybody's on their own journey, and once you get to that point and you feel ready, then maybe you could look into those issues yourself. So that wraps up my 8 tips for eating healthy, getting back on track, staying on track. I hope that you guys got something out of that. I just wanted to say that the longer you're on this lifestyle and eating this way, the easier it becomes. I am not joking when I tell you that I crave kale, I crave vegetables, just plain, just the way they are. I absolutely love eating this way and love learning new things, and hope to share more with you along my journey. If you guys have any other tips for people trying to get back on track or stay on track with healthy eating, please put them in the comments below. I really enjoy reading your comments. So that sums up the video, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day and eat some healthy food. Bye.